Bridget Bartlett here. If you are doing cold outreach and you want the ability to protect your email sending domain, or you want to keep your main account clean from invalid or unopened emails, I'm going to show you today how you can copy your contacts in real time from one sub account to another in HighLevel without using Pabbly or Zapier. This is really, really cool. Okay. So if you guys are using, for example, just to give you a use case, if you're using the white label lead system, you probably understand the ability to keep those accounts or that email sending domain, to keep that cold outreach email sending domain away from your main domain. You really want to be using that in its own account. Okay. But you may be kind of confused like, okay, well, if I'm running my cold emails through one account, how do I move those contacts to another sub account, like your main account that you're working in? So I actually was coming up with this solution on my own. And so I definitely wanted to show you guys what I'm doing and how I am getting things moved around. So what I want to happen, because I think it's definitely best to have a use case for this, right? So what I want to happen is I have, and in our program, we have, different software that each member gets reseller rights to. Okay. Now, one of those tools are L Messenger. And what's cool about all of these tools is we can give free accounts away in exchange, of course, for the contact information. So we want to use these free accounts as lead magnets, but we don't want to have to create all of the automations and everything that takes place. And a lot of times, your business, especially like with cold outreach, you're going to have one account where everything is set up. Okay. So you really don't want to have to do that in multiple accounts. We just really want to use the website as the trigger for the automations to take place in the other account. Okay. And then it's just a matter of moving the contact info over. All right. So what I want to happen is when I send the emails out, my cold outreach emails out, what I want to do is when they click the link to create their free account, I want that to trigger the automation to send the contact info to my main account. That will make it so much easier because I can send out my normal newsletters and all of those things that I normally do without having to then go back into another account and manage the conversations and all of that. Okay. So I set up that account. Okay. So I have my main account here with all of my automations. And then I have a completely different sub account. I'm going to show you how I'm going to connect those. Okay. So I'm in the conversations tab and I'm going to create trigger links for each of the tools that I want to trigger this automation. Okay. So I'm going to use these 4 tools to as my offer for my different outreach, right? Because what business owner would like a free account of L Messenger or Elm Link or Elmatic or Elm Optimizer? These are going to be my offers and my lead magnet. And then, of course, once they sign up, now they're moving forward in my value ladder and then hopefully to, the HighLevel CRM or maybe any services that I want to provide and so on, right? So I have my trigger links and it's really easy to create. You just click add link, give it a name, and then paste the link that you're going to be putting in your emails so that when they click that link, they go where they're supposed to, but also it triggers a separate automation here inside the account. Okay, so you can see here, it just says oh messenger and it has my normal URL there. Okay. Now, once you have created the trigger links for the tool or tools or whatever your offer is, you also need to create a tag. So I'm going to go to tags, and there are many, many ways of setting this system up, but I love to just trigger everything with tags. That's just, it seems like everything that I do in HighLevel, it makes it so much easier if it's all based on tags. Okay. So I have 4 tags here. So I have 4 trigger links for each of the tools, and then I have 4 tags, one for each of the tools. Okay. So once you have that created, what you need to do is go back to the automations, okay? And you'll see in this folder, I just have the one account, okay? Or the one workflow. You would have to build this system for each offer that you're trying to create. Of course, it doesn't have to be our tools. This can be used for any offer that you have available, whether you have one or 5,000. Okay. So you'll see here, I have my automation that's going to take place when someone is tagged with L Messenger. Okay. So that can be in my, that can be built in whatever, whether you want to manually tag them or whatever um your sequence is. Okay, so this is going to be my tag. All right, so anytime someone is tagged with L Messenger, and if I'm using the white label lead system, when you're searching for your leads, you can tag them in the campaign, or you can go to your contacts and then select all the ones that you want to send the L Messenger campaign to. You can do that by tag. So that's why I like to start a lot of my workflows with the trigger that starts with a tag. Okay, so this one is going to be L Messenger. And as soon as someone is tagged with L Messenger, that means I'm going to send them an email. Okay, now you can see I don't have all of this set up. This is just for training here. So I want to have my email address, the one that's burnable. And by burnable, I mean, you can see that I'm using info@myvisionleads.com. I'm not going to use myvisionagency.com because I want to make sure that domain is completely separate. So if this gets like shut down and marked with spam, that doesn't affect my other account in any way. Okay, it doesn't affect my emails, my domain, nothing, because it's not related to this at all. Okay, so this is why you want to, especially with cold emails, or if you have some type of a sales system where you need to move contacts from another, it's easier to just use a different domain. And of course, you could always use, with the email sending domain, a subdomain of this. So it'd be like info at and then office.myvisionleads.com. So for our first email, we're going to send a subject line. And of course, this is our first email. We're sending a cold contact. So we want to, tell them like, hey, are you using Facebook, for business? Have you thought about, tools? What if you could do this? Da, 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 right? So we want to introduce them to our messenger, and we want to give them a link to click. Okay. So here, if you highlight the text and you go to URL, you'll see here there's a link list, and then you can choose whatever trigger link you want this to be. Okay, so I'm going to choose the trigger link L Messenger, and then when they click there in the email, that's going to trigger that second automation to take place. So what I'm doing now is, let's say that I send this to 1,000 people, and remember, this is cold marketing, right? So if I send this email to 1,000 people, and maybe 30% open them. Okay, so now that's 30%, but maybe even less than that. Obviously, typically 1 or 2% would click on it. What I'm doing is I'm only going to send the people who actually clicked the trigger link. I'm only going to send those people to my main account. Okay, because one, I want to make sure that they're really interested. Okay, so I'm kind of using this account to pre-qualify them. I also want to make sure that it's a valid email, right? Because at this point they had to have opened it and then they clicked in it. So this is keeping my main account really clean of any type of bounced emails or people that are not interested in receiving my emails. Because even if it's a valid email, if they're not interested in receiving it and they repeatedly don't open it, that hurts your email reputation. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I need to set up that second automation that gets triggered when this trigger link gets clicked. Okay, so you can see I'm going to send about 3 more emails, and I have that same trigger link in there. Okay, now of course I can build this out, and I can say, if they clicked the trigger link, move them to the next thing, or whatever you want to do. Okay, but this is just a basic setup here to start the automation to send them the cold outreach for L Messenger. Okay, so now the next step is when they click the link. So we need a second workflow, and I'm just going to choose here to start my workflow. I'm going to choose an inbound webhook. Okay, now you can see I already have one selected, and I called it trigger link clicked. Okay, because this is the automation that's going to happen when we send the L Messenger campaign and someone clicks the trigger link. All right, now The only way that you can trigger this is by using this premium trigger here that is built in HighLevel. Now, it is a premium trigger, so premium triggers are based on a credit system. So you need to make sure that you have funds in your wallet, and this is going to use those automations. Now, you can do this with Zapier or Pabbly. You can set up the same type of automation, but it's going to be more complicated because you're going to have more steps. And obviously, you can't trigger a workflow from a webhook unless it is this premium trigger. Okay. Because you have this one, or you don't even have that one down there. If you add a step here, you can see that you can use this webhook, but you need to use the inbound webhook as the trigger. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to say when a trigger link is clicked. All right. I'm sorry. Disregard what I just told you because I forgot that's the next step. Okay. So this automation takes place with the trigger link when it is clicked. Okay. And you can see trigger link. You just search trigger. Okay. So trigger link clicked. And when you choose trigger link clicked, you're going to choose the specific trigger link that you want to trigger this automation. Okay. Now the next step is going to be to send the webhook. Okay. So this is actually, it is a new feature. This can be with Pabbly or whatever you want to use. But then, like I said, the next step is triggered by an inbound webhook. So you want to put your webhook here, okay? And it's going to be a post webhook because we're pulling in data and then we're going to send it someplace else, okay? So take this, okay, so I'm sorry. Okay, so we're going to send it to the webhook, okay? So this webhook is going to be captured by the account that's hosting our system. Okay, so when I go into, sorry, I was confusing myself. So when I go into this workflow, what I need to do is use the inbound trigger, and then I need to post, I need to get this webhook right here and then post it here. Okay, so that's how it works. So we're taking the webhook from our main account, which is the inbound webhook. It's this one right here. Okay, so we're taking this inbound webhook and we are doing something in this account with it. Okay, so we paste that there. Okay, so hopefully I didn't confuse you guys like I confused myself. Okay, so now we have this inbound webhook. So let me just keep you up to date here. So what we have happening right now is we tag a lead with a messenger. That's going to trigger the cold outreach campaign. Okay. Now, if they decide to not open and not click, nothing's going to happen. It's just going to be a dead email. If they decide to open, nothing is going to happen. Even though I could choose that if I wanted to, I'm going to say nothing is going to happen. But when they click in the email, that is what's going to trigger this next automation to take place, right? So I have the trigger link is going to be the trigger of my automation. And I'm going to tell the system, I want you to send this data from this person to this webhook. Okay. Now that webhook is the inbound webhook here inside my main account that I want to capture that information. And then I want to do something in my main account with it. Okay. So they've clicked the trigger link. Now what happens is when you add this, you pull in the data, right? You paste that, you map your info, okay? So you're going to basically test it. You need to test it to get the info. And then it's going to prompt you to create or update a contact, okay? So here is where you're going to map out all of your fields. So when they pull in the data, you need to tell the system, what do you want me to do with all of this, okay? So first name, you can choose, what do you want to be in the place of the first name? So I'm going to map with this data here. Okay. So this is first name. We're going to first name, last name, last name. If I wanted to add a new field, you see like maybe business name, then I could select any of these to fill in for that. Okay. Now I don't have business name here, but maybe I had like contact source, and maybe here in contact source, I wanted to add tags or something like that. So you have all of this capability, and it really, using the workflow webhook really makes this like so simple. It's insane. Okay. So once you map all of that out, Then that data is creating a contact and it's filling in all of that info. Okay. And what you can do also is tag them with something else. So here is where you could actually trigger an entire automation if you want to send to the people who did click that trigger link. Okay. Because now they've moved from one system to another because we use that trigger inbound webhook. Now, I would definitely suggest tagging them with something, because now when they're inside your main account, then you're going to know all of the people who have this specific tag, how they got there, right? So they came in from the L Messenger campaign and Vision Lead, okay? But maybe I want to send them to, another campaign all about L Messenger. Maybe I want to use like a if else function, and I want to see, like, did they purchase, send them to this automation? Did they not purchase? Did they have an abandoned cart? Something like that. Okay. So really the sky's the limit as to what you can do with that. Okay. So, I hope I didn't confuse you all, but this is really, really a super easy system. Now, what I want to do is I want to go to the contacts here, and let's go ahead and test this, and I'll show you what it looks like. Hopefully, I've used this email, but I deleted everything. Hopefully, it doesn't cause me any issues. So I'm going to replicate my my system here by tagging in the profile. I could tag L Messenger. If I had a lot of contacts, like maybe I was using the lead system and I wanted to just come in here and I wanted to maybe sort all the people who had like the L Messenger tag, and I wanted to send those the campaign to those people. I could also select this here, and then I could add them to the campaign this way. But I just like to click into the account and then use the tag option. Okay, so I'm going to choose L Messenger now. And you'll see that our first email went out, okay? And it says click here to create your free account. So here was the email address that I used. So I received the email. Now I'm going to click here. So not only did I open the email, but I clicked in it and I went to my main page, okay? Now if I go back to my account here and I go to the automations, you'll see here that I went through. Okay, so it's waiting for my time. You can see that I'm right here. Here's my contact. Okay. If we go to the next one, you will see that it did send the data to my vision agency. So now if I go to my vision agency and I go to contacts, let's see, I want to search consulting. Okay, and this is blurred out. So I think because I was testing in here, it's not wanting to add someone. Okay, so it's actually, I had to blur this out because this is my main account and I didn't want to show any info. So unfortunately, I can't show that because it's tied to another email. Darn it. I really wanted to show you. That's that test. Okay, so regardless, it would have the contact in this account now, and it would be tagged with the vision the L Messenger Vision Lead tag. Okay, sorry I can't show you that. I swear, when you do, testing right before a live, it never fails. It causes weird stuff to happen. Okay, but that is how the process works. It sounds really complicated, but it's actually not that complicated. It's a pretty easy solution to moving the contacts. That way you can keep both accounts separate, but also use them at the same time. Because the last thing you want to do is get to a point where you have to now monitor different conversation tabs and email inboxes and all of those things. Okay, we want to streamline these processes to make it really simple. Okay, so McCall says, is it a duplicate contact? No, it's not a duplicate. I think it's just because it's not registering that I had a new contact because I was just testing with this. And it's blurred out, so I can't really see if this is one that I was testing with or if it's the actual one. I don't want to unblur it because I'm live and I don't want to reveal anyone else's info. So um, thank you all so much for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Go make your vision a reality. Bye. Thank you so much for joining us for today's training. If you have any questions, you can join us for open office hours starting right now at bridgetbartlett.com. It's free and open to everyone.